Don't touch that pot. There is no food for you in this house today, lazy man. Patrick slowly turned around. He had only walked into the kitchen to drink water, but Monica's voice exploded through the house like thunder. She stood at the kitchen entrance, still wearing her office clothes, her handbag hanging from her shoulder, eyes burning with anger. "Didn't you hear what I said this morning?" she snapped. "The food in this house is for people who actually work." Patrick swallowed slowly. Just a year ago, those same lips used to call him the best husband in the world. Now, they only spat insults. Patrick used to be the one who provided everything for the family. He paid the rent, bought the food, handled the children's school fees, and made sure Monica never worried about money. But everything changed the day his company suddenly closed down. The job was gone. And with it, the respect in his own home. At first, Monica tried to be supportive, but when months passed and Patrick still hadn't found another job, something inside her changed. When she got a high-paying job at a big marketing company, the change became worse. The woman who once hugged him every night began to look at him like a stranger. Then one evening, she said the words that broke something inside him. "Since I'm the one bringing money now," Monica said coldly, "you will take care of the house." Patrick tried to laugh it off, but she was serious. "Cooking, cleaning, laundry, school runs, everything," she added. "At least make yourself useful." From that day, Patrick became the housekeeper in his own home. Every morning, he woke up before everyone. He cooked breakfast, he washed clothes, he cleaned the entire house, he took the children to school. And every evening, he rushed to prepare dinner before Monica returned from work. But no matter what he did, it was never enough. One evening, Monica walked in and immediately started shouting, "Why is the floor still wet?" Patrick looked confused. "I just finished mopping." "I could slip and fall," she snapped. Another day, she shouted because the soup had too much salt. Another day, she shouted because the children were watching TV. Every small mistake turned into an explosion. The children began to notice. Sometimes Patrick caught them watching him quietly, confused about why their mother spoke to their father that way. But the worst humiliation came one night during dinner. Monica dropped her spoon loudly on the table. "This soup is terrible," she said loudly. Patrick felt his chest tighten. "I followed the recipe You followed nothing," she interrupted. Then she looked straight at him and said something that froze the entire room. "Sometimes I wonder why I'm still married to a man who can't even provide." Silence swallowed the dining room. The children looked down at their plates. Patrick didn't say anything, but something inside him cracked that night. Days passed. Monica's behavior became worse. She started coming home late, sometimes midnight, sometimes even later. When Patrick asked where she had been, she rolled her eyes. "Must I report to you now?" she snapped. One evening, Patrick noticed something strange. Monica walked into the house smiling while typing on her phone, a smile she hadn't seen directed at him in months. When she noticed him watching, her face changed instantly. "Why are you staring?" she snapped. "Nothing," Patrick replied quietly. But a heavy feeling began growing inside his chest. Something wasn't right. The tension in the house grew thicker every day. Until one night, everything exploded. Patrick had spent the whole day cooking, cleaning, and preparing dinner. Monica arrived late again. She walked straight to the table, tasted the food, and suddenly pushed the plate away violently. "Are you trying to poison me?" she shouted. The children jumped. Patrick stood frozen. "It's just pepper soup," he said quietly. Monica stood up angrily. "You stay in this house all day doing nothing and you still can't cook properly." Patrick felt the words hit him like blows. For the first time in months, he spoke back. "I don't do nothing," he said calmly. The room went silent. Monica stared at him in disbelief. "What did you say?" Patrick looked straight at her. "I said I don't do nothing. I clean this house, I cook, I take care of the children." Monica laughed mockingly. "Oh, please, That's what housemaids do. Those words echoed through the room. Patrick felt his heart pounding loudly. Housemaid. That was what she saw him as. Not her husband, not the father of her children, just a servant. Patrick slowly stood up from the table. For the first time in months, his voice was firm. I lost my job, he said quietly. I didn't lose my dignity. Monica rolled her eyes. Then go find it somewhere else. That night, Patrick barely slept. He stared at the ceiling while the house remained silent. Every insult, every moment of disrespect replayed in his mind. By morning, Patrick had made a decision. And that decision would change everything in that house forever. Patrick woke up before everyone else that morning, just like he always did. The house was silent. The faint sound of birds outside the window filled the early morning air. For a long moment, he simply sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. His mind replayed Monica's voice from the night before. That's what housemaids do. The words echoed again and again in his head. Patrick slowly stood up. He walked quietly to the kitchen and began preparing breakfast for the children. His movements were calm, almost mechanical. Bread, eggs, tea. But inside him, something had changed. Not anger, not sadness. Something deeper, something colder. When the children woke up, Patrick greeted them with a gentle smile like he always did. "Good morning, Dad," his son said. "Morning," Patrick replied softly. They ate breakfast together, but Patrick barely spoke. His mind was busy. Monica walked into the dining room a few minutes later, already dressed for work. She glanced at Patrick like he was invisible. "Make sure the children are ready for school," she said casually while checking her phone. Patrick looked at her quietly. He didn't argue. He didn't complain. He simply nodded. But Monica didn't notice the difference in his eyes. After she left for work, Patrick finished cleaning the house. The same chores he had been doing for months. Laundry, dishes, sweeping. But this time, every movement had a purpose. Around noon, Patrick sat down with his old laptop, the laptop he had barely touched since losing his job. He opened it slowly. His fingers hovered over the keyboard for a moment. Then he started typing. Job applications, emails, old contacts, former colleagues. For hours, Patrick worked quietly, sending messages to anyone who might help him find work. Most people didn't reply. Some replied with sympathy. But by evening, one message appeared that made Patrick sit up straight. It was from an old friend named Chinedu. Chinedu used to work with Patrick years ago. His message was short. "I heard what happened. Come see me tomorrow. I might have something for you." Patrick stared at the message for a long time. For the first time in months, hope flickered in his chest. That evening, Monica came home like usual. Her heels clicked loudly across the floor. "Patrick, why is the living room light still on? Are you trying to waste electricity now?" Patrick walked out of the kitchen calmly. "Dinner is ready," he said quietly. Monica sat down and started eating. She didn't say thank you. She didn't say anything at all. Halfway through the meal, her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and suddenly smiled. Not a small smile, a wide one. Patrick noticed. He didn't say anything, but the feeling in his chest returned. Later that night, Monica stepped outside to answer the phone. Patrick stood by the window without her noticing. Her voice was softer than he had heard in months. "You're funny," she laughed quietly into the phone. Patrick's stomach tightened. He couldn't hear the other person's voice, but he didn't need to. Something wasn't right. Monica returned inside a few minutes later and went straight to bed without saying a word. Patrick lay awake long after she fell asleep. His mind was racing. The next morning, Patrick dressed neatly and left the house after taking the children to school. He went straight to meet Chinedu. Chinedu's office was located in a busy part of the city.
When Patrick walked in, Chinedu stood up immediately and gave him a firm handshake. "Patrick, it's been a long time." Patrick smiled weakly. "Too long." They sat down. Chinedu leaned forward. "I heard what happened," he said. "I'm sorry." Patrick nodded. "It happens." Chinedu studied his face for a moment. Then he said something unexpected. "I'm starting a small logistics company." Patrick raised an eyebrow. "We need someone experienced to manage operations, someone I can trust." Patrick felt his heart beat faster. "You mean?" "I mean you." Patrick sat silently. For months, he had felt useless, worthless, invisible. Now, someone was offering him a chance again. "When do I start?" Patrick asked. Chinedu smiled. "Tomorrow." For the first time in months, Patrick walked out of that office feeling like himself again. That evening, when Monica came home, she found Patrick cooking in the kitchen. "Why is the soup taking so long?" she snapped. Immediately, Patrick turned calmly. "I'll be starting a new job tomorrow." Monica blinked in surprise. Then she laughed, a cold, mocking laugh. "Oh, please," she said, "another one of your little hopes." Patrick didn't react, but Monica kept talking. "Let me guess," she continued sarcastically, "another small job that pays nothing." Patrick looked straight at her. "No," he said calmly. "For the first time in months, something better." Monica rolled her eyes. "We'll see." But she didn't realize something important. Patrick was no longer the same man she had been insulting for months. And very soon, she would discover how much things were about to change.